I've decided to make an in-game Counter-Strike routine to help train my aim. Couple reasons for this. One, I've been grinding the fuck out of Kovakks. I've hit Masters complete in Kovakks. Like, I'm grinding for Grandmaster now. I've got 1 Grandmaster score. This is pretty good aim, okay? I should be killing people, and I wasn't killing people. You know, I mean, I had a couple arguments with my teammate about like Kovakks versus in-game aim training, and I was like, you know, maybe he's right. Maybe I'm doing too much Kovakks. So I decided to make an in-game routine, and the whole point of this in-game Kovakks or in-game Counter-Strike routine is to train the mechanics and techniques that do not get trained in Kovakks. It's not the best routine for like raw aim. It's the best routine for training specific mechanics within CS. So that's how I separated the days. The other thing too I want to do with this routine is I've seen so many fucking aim routines within Counter-Strike on YouTube, and the guy is just like, do 1,000 bots. Okay, now do 2,000 bots, and now going DM and do 10 kills with every weapon. It's like, bro, that's fucking bullshit. You're not doing enough volume with each specific mechanic to get actual progress with. So I decided to separate this into different days, focusing on different mechanics specifically within CS, and then, you know, load up on the volume. The other thing too I did that with this routine is that I made it around 90 minutes for each day, because focus lasts for about 90 minutes. It's an ultradian cycle. Shout out Andrew Huberman. Each day will be about 90 minutes. If it's too long for you, you can always reduce the bot count or the minute count for the routine itself, and then, you know, you can fit into 90 minutes. I recommend not going over 90 minutes if possible, because you just lose focus. It's not even worth it. Starting off with the days, I'm gonna get into the specifics of how to do each scenario of the routine, but the days, it starts off with we got clicking and recoil. When I say clicking within CS, it has to do with like specific clicking with Counter-Strike player patterns, movement patterns. Because if you're doing like dynamic clicking within Kovakks, a lot of it's like pass-through and stuff, and pass-through targets just move around like this, and that's not how a player moves within Counter-Strike. And there's nothing wrong with training pass-through. Like, that's good to train for your, you know, your mouse control, but like you want to train within game how players move. And so players move left and right most of the time, unless they're like, you know, spin botting or some shit. Next we got clicking and movement. So now it's like, again, more clicking routines, and then it also has to train your movement, counter strafes, long counter strafes, some repeat training, crossfire training. You also got diagonal strafing I added into this. I've tried to hit literally every mechanic possible within Counter-Strike. Day 3 we got Awping and filler. Day 4 we got clicking and recoil. So now it's the same thing as day 1, except it focuses on different guns for recoil, because that's the other thing I noticed too, is if I ever trained recoil within game, like I would try and hit every gun within a day. It's not possible. You don't have enough time to really focus on one gun. So I decided to split into 2 different days, so you can focus more on like M4 AK one day, and then have Galil and FAMAS be secondary focus, and then the next day will be like FAMAS, Galil main focus, M4 AK secondary focus, and then the third focus would be like MP9 and AUG or something. Day 5 we got technique and crosshair placement. This is where you put all your mouse control together into different aim techniques. I can get into the specifics of this later, but just know that it's bullshit to have one aim technique, okay? Don't listen to people who say that. I'm not hating on Hayek. I don't know how you pronounce his name, Haix. I remember a long time ago I saw a video of his talking about smooth aim versus speed aim. He's right in describing the both different styles of aim, but you should not stick to one. You need to change the technique that you use for your aiming depending on the gun that you're using and the situation that you're in. And so this day trains each technique of aiming, like the quote-unquote speed aiming, which is really just NBM, and then like smooth aiming, you know, which is just like normal point, click, micro adjust, confirm and shoot type aiming. That's what gets trained on day 5. Also crosshair placement, because you're doing like crossfire, pre-fire maps. And then day 6 is flicking and movement, which seems like you can train in Kovakks, which you can. You train your flicking in Kovakks. You know, you have your Kovakks static scenarios that trains your flicking. You have your target switching, which really trains your flicking. But what I wanted to do within Counter-Strike is that you don't train strafing and flicking within Kovakks. Most of the times when you're flicking, it's usually your static, you know, static dot, static one wall 4 targets, or static, you know, bounce TS, like you're doing shit like that. The flicking and movement in this day 6 is specific to CS because you're strafing flicking, which it drastically changes the amount of mouse movement you need for your flick if you counter strafe in the opposite direction. I'll explain it in game, but yeah, this is the whole routine. A lot of the scenarios that are in this routine are within aimbots, so you can just download that, or refrag. And if you don't have refrag, you can just take the general idea of the scenario, and I guarantee you can find a workshop map that can train it. So like example, I use the recoil aim trainer and refrag, You don't need refrag to do that. I'm not sponsored by refrag, so you know, throwing that out there. This is not some sponsorship video. This is like legit the routine I've been running. And I just want to say, dude, all the aim training that I had from Kovakks, right? Grinding out fucking masters complete, 700. I think I got it around 700 hours, six to 700 hours. I hit masters complete. Finally, all that shit is paying off, dude, because it had nothing to do with my mouse control. I would get in game and I would just not kill people. It had to do with in-game mechanics that I was fucking up on. So like I would be in game with a free 1v1 and be like, oh my god, I gotta train my flicking. And it's like, no dude, my second shot, third shot recoil accuracy sucks. Or no dude, I just don't know how to MBM method. Or I don't know how to spam click. That's another thing you don't train in Kovakks, like, which also gets trained in this routine, is spam clicking. It was like a lot of in-game mechanics that I was just completely missing out on. And then I would lose fights and then think my aim was bad, so I double down on training more and more Kovakks. So I get like 700 hours and still not killing people. Bro, I've been running this routine for like 2 weeks. My aim, my ADR has skyrocketed, bro. I've been going crazy in game. Like legit, I have been playing so well. So starting, I'm gonna explain how to do each scenario because it looks, I showed this to my teammate. He's like, bro, this is literally a different language. Like look at this. Self short strafes, dynamic recoil, commit, heavy, slow, 300 bots, FAMAS, half close, half far, 1 sector. Like what the fuck does that mean? I'll explain. Day 1 clicking and recoil, and it's self long strafes, aimbot statics. So the way this is done, I usually always go to 90 degrees or 1 sector, and then I have the bots be static, aimbot static, and I do long strafes and I just track the bot. And after like 2 long strafes, I'll kill and then switch to another bot and track him. Key things to know during this scenario when you're training it is you want to stay nice and smooth when tracking the bot. Try and stay dead center if possible. Like these are errors to look for. So going forward with all these scenarios, I'm gonna give you kind of like the correct form, and you want to try and mimic it. And if you're not mimicking it, just register what you're doing wrong as errors, and your brain will naturally pick up on it. So you just gotta be like, oh, I'm not doing this correctly, try and fix that. I'm not doing this correctly, I'll try and your brain will naturally pick up on it. But if you just go through this whole routine and just like a checklist and just get it done, you're not gonna learn. The whole point when you're doing this is to bring flaws to the surface, take notice of them, and then try and fix them. So you have to look for errors. And one thing that I realized too, I'm gonna throw this in real quick, is that when you get good enough aim, an error is not missing the target no more. There's a point where you'll have good enough aim, good enough micro adjusts that you won't miss, but you are still committing errors. So an example would be flicking just a target. I can flick and still, micro adjust and kill him. And it's like, oh, I killed him. That's not an error. But the error was a flick. I overflicked, right? I overflicked on the flick. So you want to look for errors within your technique, even if you kill the bot. You're not worrying about killing the bots. You're worrying about errors within the technique and form. So starting off, we have self long strafe, aimbot static. So you keep the aimbot static and you do long strafes. And the things you want to look for is staying completely dead center in the bot's head, no up and down movement. You want to keep it completely horizontal. You want to be able to kill at the end of the counter strafe, of course. Another thing you can do and train as well within this is your target switching. So like after you kill the bot with a long strafe, you want to be able to flick to another bot and just immediately pick up the strafing and tracking on the other bot. So this is like a target switching scenario. Keys to things that you want to look for errors is the flick. When you go to another bot, you want to land directly on the bot and then just instantly start smooth tracking. You want to keep it as like flawless as possible. This is how you do self aim bots, long strafe static. Okay, next up we have self long strafes. So you're strafing long, dynamic bots slow. So you just open up this, turn off run speed, make them slow bots. I usually go to the 4 point because all the other ones seem a bit too predictable with the bot patterns. Don't try and predict bot patterns. You want to target confirm. So when you're doing self long strafe dynamic bots like this, stay on the bot as much as possible and react as fast as possible. Obviously you can train this one within Kovakks, but the thing that you're trying to train within here is target recognition, because you're tracking the bot's head and recognizing that that's the target within CS. It's not a white dot that you see in Kovakks, it's a head. The other thing that you're training is your movement as well while tracking that target. So you want to do the same thing as the static one, but with dynamic bots, and just try and stay on the bot as much as you can. After that, We have the recoil aim trainer pyramid. You can work up from like 2 bullet bursting, 3 bullet bursting to 4, 5, 6, 8, and then, you know, work up the recoil. I do use refrag for this, so let me open up a refrag server. If you do not use refrag, no worries, my friend. I'm sure there's a workshop map you can get. Also, if you do use refrag too, they have their specific recoil aim trainer. I was using it for a bit. I don't really like it. The thing that it's useful for is it like shows your spray pattern compared to like the right one. I think it's kind of stupid because the right one is automatically shown when I have follow recoil on, so I don't find that useful at all. The only thing I was finding useful out of like the recoil refrag aim trainer was just the no spread, being able to turn on no spread and being able to have a bot with infinite health. And I found out you can do the same exact thing on one of their subscribed scenarios. So if you do their aim bots, this is a custom map that like another player made. Do one of these. It's a lot better. It's a lot easier to set up because if you do the refrag recoil aim trainer, you have to go and place the bots yourself. You have to type in no spread and all this other bullshit. It takes way too long. It takes like 3 minutes to set up just to do it, and you have to reset it up like 3-4 times when you're doing this routine because you're not doing recoil back to back to back. I'll show you what I mean. So you just spawn in, right? You type in dot prac, you dot prac, give the gun that you want, and then you do dot no spread. So now no spreads on, bot health 500. So now the bots have more than 500 health. Hold on, they have to respawn with more health. Yeah, there we go. I find 500 to be the sweet spot because if you hit like all your headshots, it only takes like 4 or 5 shots, and that's pretty much what your spray should master be. Like you should, what the fuck? That's usually how long your spray should be, is about like 4 to 6 shots. So around 500 to 700 health is like perfect for training this. But if you want to train more than that, you know, you could always put the bot health to like 1,000, 1,500. And then when I'm in here, I'm not usually worried about spray transferring because there's scenarios later on in this playlist for spray transfers, but you can do it if you want. You know, 2 bots are right next to each other. Go ahead, spray transfer them. The main thing is to focus on committing to killing the target, which is like something you don't really train within Kovakks. In Kovakks, you're doing like static scenarios. You flick and then you just flick off instantly, right? If you hit or you miss the target, you just flick off. It's because you're trying to get a score. In Counter-Strike, you don't flick off, you're committing to a target. So when you're doing this scenario right here with the recoil aim trainer, commit to killing the bots no matter how long it takes. And if you ever notice yourself stop, register that as an error because you want to commit to killing them. You would never do that in game. You would commit till you're dead in game. So register that as an error. And then obviously when you're doing the recoil aim trainer, just register errors within your recoil. I use follow Crosshair, so I get perfect feedback on how bad or how good my recoil is. If you don't do this, then you have to look for your bullet tracers, and if you have that off too, I guess listen for dink sounds. I don't know. I made the switch to follow recoil because of the feedback it gives you on your sprays. You get perfect feedback on how bad your spray was, and so you're always able to improve it. So yeah, when you're in here, it's about 20 minutes. Do 10 minutes AK, 10 minutes M4. And just focus on committing, focus on going for headshots because that's the goal. I used to think I had good recoil because I could spray someone down. That's not good recoil. Good recoil is being able to stay on the head with your recoil, you know, and actually kill the target. And now we have self short strafes, dynamic recoil commit, the bots, 300 bots. So it's AK first, half close, half far. For most of these scenarios, you're going to be doing 1 sector. Most fights in game are not wide flicks. You're not going crazy like that. You will eventually train this in one of the other day scenarios, but most of those are not like that. So when you're doing this one, the dynamic recoil commit slow, you want dynamic bots. So have the bots move, and you don't want them running. You want them slow. Another thing too I like to do is I put head armor on and I put health regen, just so it makes me commit more bullets if I miss. If I hit some body shots, it's not going to kill the guy early. I want to really focus on training my recoil, so I want the bot to have more health. So when I'm in here, you're just committing to killing the bot while he's moving. Another tip too, when you're training your recoil, is that I noticed that when I first started doing this, I would just insta flick and just let the recoil do its thing. You want to train proper form, and your recoil in game should not be your main way of killing someone. It should be a backup plan if you don't kill someone on your first shot. So the way, if you really want to break down your aim into steps, it should be hopefully a strafe because you want movement within your aim. A strafe, a flick, right? A flick, a micro adjust, confirm you're on target, shoot, and you don't stop shooting till they're dead. That's how you ideally should be doing your proper, you know, normal technique. I will get into MBM method later, but this is a proper technique for aiming. A lot of times when I'm doing the recoil bots commit, like this scenario, I'm actually killing the bot on the first target, which is how you should be killing people in game. But I end up training committing if I do miss that first shot. Because a lot of people, they'll like have like, they'll do one end of each extreme. So either when people are in aimbots, they'll come and they'll, you know, micro adjust and then shoot once, or other people will not micro adjust at all and spray and just hope for the best. You want to do both. You want to micro adjust, try and hit that first shot, and if you don't kill him on the first shot, commit till he's dead. That should be the whole process in your technique, is commitment, which is something that just does not get really trained in Kovakks. You want to do half close from right here, and you want to do half far away so you can train your fingertips really well, because a lot of your fights within CS are really small micros like this, which does not really get trained in Kovakks that much unless you're doing a playlist specific to that, which I wasn't. I was doing like a lot of, honestly, just benchmarks because I was trying to hit that masters, you know. So next one is self long strafes dynamic bots fast. So it's self long strafes, so you're doing long strafes and the bots are moving fast. It's like the first two scenarios I showed you, the self long strafe aimbot static and self long strafe aimbot dynamic slow. You're doing the same thing, you're just tracking him, but he's fast this time. Next one is the recoil aim trainer with the FAMAS and Galil. Again, that's the exact same thing as I just showed you with the AK on the refrag aimbots. Just do it with the FAMAS and Galil, 5 minutes each. And then after that, now we have the refrag spray transfers. If you come to refrag, and you go to the community hub, they have spray transfer scenarios. Again, if you don't have refrag, you can download a workshop map and do the same thing. You're in here, you have 2 bots that spawn instantly, so you're forced to spray transfer, and then the third one spawns after you kill the first, so you have to do like all 3. So this is just how I train my spray transfers, like this in game. If you want to do an aimbots, you can do an aimbots, but I like this better because there's a reflexive element to it, where the bots aren't already up there, the bots swing into you, so you have to react. Next up in the routine is just the recoil trainer again, but you do it with the AUG. Same thing, I'm not going into more detail. And then after that, more spray transfers, but with the AK. You start off with M4, then you go AK. For the last 2 scenarios of the recoil day 1 is dynamic heavy bots recoil commit at M4 AK, except the bots are moving fast. It's the same thing as the one I showed before where they're slow. Make them heavy bots. The heavy bots is currently broken, so I just do Kevlar helmet with health regen. And then the bots move fast this time, and you just want to commit to killing them. Same technique as before, try and target confirm, and then don't stop shooting till they're dead. So that's day 1 finished. So day 2, we got clicking and movement. These bots can stop fucking running now. Chill out. So now we have self long strafes, dynamic bots slow. It's like the same thing as before, you know, self long strafes. The bots move slowly. Same thing as I said for day 1. Now we go back to refrag for the second scenario. We have crossfire reflexive nightmare. You want to go to a crossfire scenario, any map that you want. Switch it to prac mode. Type in nightmare so the bots swing you in like ridiculous ways. They'll jump peek you, crouch peek you, jiggle you. And then you want to set the swingers to 1. So it's only 1 bot peeking you. So this forces you to train your reflexivity, right? You're forced to react when the bot peeks you. Sometimes like when you do crossfire, there'll be like 2 or 3 bots peeking you. You already know where you're shooting your next shot, where you're flicking the next point. It doesn't really train your reflexivity. So if you do specifically 1 bot, you're forced to react to that 1 bot peeking you. You see what I'm saying? You can't plan your next shot. After that, we have circle strafes aimbot static. I go to the refrag aimbots to do this because they have a giant circle in the middle right here. You put it on 1 sector. You can do this with aimbots if you want, but I like doing the giant circle so I can see how well I'm tracking the circle. And my whole goal when I'm doing this is to stay on this circle and counter strafe and strafe however needed to stay on the circle and kill the bots. So like right now I'm going left to right, and now I'm going diagonal, now I'm going forward, now I'm going top left diagonal, now I'm going straight left. Now I'm moving backwards diagonal, now I'm moving straight backwards. And the whole goal is to like wrap around this circle while counter strafing properly. It's like, it's so weird getting used to it, having to do like forward strafes and diagonal strafes. But after a while, it feels like normal aimbots, bro. Just make sure you're trying to stay on the circle. If you fall off the circle, it's just an error, register as an error, and keep moving. I half 1 direction, half the other. Boom, 300 bots. After that, we're back in aimbots, and we're doing self long strafes dynamic fast. So it's the same thing as before, as I said, where the bots, you're doing shit like this. right? The next scenario would be self short strafes, dynamic bots slow. So now you make the bots move slow. You're doing short strafes, you're just doing your basic strafing and flicking. Just know that self long strafes is just long strafes, self short strafes is just like basic aim bots, what everyone does. And you're doing this for 1,000 bots. You know, flick, confirm, and shoot. Really focus on confirming, man, because it's like right there I didn't confirm. It's a big error that seems like a waste of time if you don't know about aiming, and it's not. It makes you way more accurate. And the more you train confirming, the faster your confirming will be. I will get into eventually of when you don't need to confirm, but that's later on in this the playlist. And now we go back to refrag, and we're going to be doing what's known as repeak training. Again, you go to the community hub, you look for, where is it, repeak. Just pick any one of these. It does not matter which one. Uh-oh, I think I just broke my CS. Fuck, dude. All right, so this is the repeak training. The whole goal of this is not to swing and then kill. I mean, you can do this to do that if you want. But the whole goal is to train your movement. So you're jiggling, and then as soon as you see the target, you're flicking and then swinging and killing them. That's the whole point of repeak training. So you jiggle, oh, and you flick and you kill them. Like that. And a couple tips for repeak training. If you are close to a wall like this, you want to stare directly center of the wall. So you shoulder jiggle him, so you're a harder target to hit. Also, if you're jiggling straight left and right, your movement in their direction, just how geometry works, you're moving the fastest. And then as soon as you see them, this is another tip too. As soon as you see them and you go back on the jiggle, so I spot, I go back, pre-aim, and then repeak and then kill. It just saves you time. I was doing it a while ago where I would jiggle, see him, and then swing and then flick. Don't do that. You want to jiggle, get the information, go back, pre-aim, and then swing. Okay, that's proper repeak form. This doesn't apply if you're further away. If you're further away while you're jiggling, you want to jiggle your crosshair around the corner. Just how geometry works, there's no reason to jiggle like this if you're further away. You probably have the advantage, so you should be gun ready in that situation. But when you're up close, you're at a geometry disadvantage, so you want to use your shoulder and, you know, use the advantages that you have, being able to pre-aim and control the fight with the cover that you have. Yeah, the next scenario after that, it goes back to the circle strafing. I just go back to refrag, except the difference is when you're doing the circle strafes, these bots are not going to be dynamic. So this is like, it's really fucking annoying to do. I'm not going to lie. It helps, you know, really put everything together. Your dynamic strafing with dynamic bots. Shuffle. And now you strafe in a circle. They strafe. And you want to combine everything together. Your counter strafes, flicking, confirming, and then killing. This is something I still really struggle with, but it's something if you struggle with, you can master. So if you find this really frustrating to do, it will help you out with learning everything else in the routine, because frustration activates neuroplasticity. Once you're in that state of neuroplasticity and you have adrenaline releasing and stuff, you learn like everything for like the past 90 minutes. Back to aimbots, and we are doing self short strafes, dynamic bots fast. So you're moving short like this, the bot's fast. Flick, confirm, shoot. Not much to be said. Bot moves fast. After this, bring the bots back to static, and then shrink this if you need to. And we're going to be doing, it's known as track and insta flick. So you want to come out here with the bots. The ground's actually supposed to be uneven for this one. Do uneven ground. You're out here with the bots. You pick one bot and you track him like this. You just want to track as best as you can. And then with your peripheral vision, you see the guy in the corner, you want to insta flick him while you're doing this tracking. So it's like that. A mistake you don't want to make is looking at the bot that you're going to flick. The whole goal of this is to train your peripheral vision and your insta flicks. So you're focusing on this guy the whole time, and then you're insta flicking. All right, so this will help you if you're opping. This will also help you with the MBM method, which eventually I'll get into later on, which involves an insta flick shot. And then for the final scenario, you just want to go back to repeak training, and you're just doing crouch shots for 75 bots. You just jiggle, crouch peek. So that's the clicking and movement for day 2. So now for day 3, this is the opping / filler day. What you do on day 3, you want to open up the box right here, and you're going to stand on the ledge, and you're going to do self long strafe static bots. You're tracking the bots while on the ledge. And this is going to be kind of annoying because you're not just going left and right. You're tracking these bots, sometimes going left and right, and then sometimes going diagonal like this, and you just want to kill them. Don't fall off the ledge. this helps train your positional awareness of your character or where you are on an object, right? You do half close, half far, so then you come back here. You're doing the same thing, long strafes, tracking, like that. And then afterwards, you're just doing self short strafes on the ledge. So you're on the ledge, just doing some basic shit like this. All right, so next up, crossfire reflexive op training. So you want to change this to prac mode. You go into refrag, you'll crossfire, change it to nightmare, change it to swingers 1, so there's only one guy swinging you, and then change the delay to 1.1. So this gives you time to rescope on the op. And it's just gonna be like one guy peeking you, and you're just doing some op training like this. So the next one is one of my personal favorites to do. You wanna shorten the arena to about three, and you wanna have the bots move fast, like this, and you get yourself a Tech 9. This is dynamic fast bots Tech 9 spam sprint. So one thing that you never train in Kovakks is spam clicking. That's something that you do in CS because you want to commit to killing a target. And this is how you commit to killing a target with a pistol. Put armor on and put health regen too. You're spam clicking and you're just strafing fast as fuck as well. And you just want to get used to spam clicking and staying on the target. So some key takeaways when you're doing this, you're not going 8 mode. This looks like you're going 8 mode. You're not going 8 mode. You're not just doing some brain dead shit. The same aiming techniques should still apply. You should be still trying to flick onto a target, and you should still be trying to track the target. But the goal of spamming is to get good at tracking while spam clicking your mouse. And that spam clicking your mouse usually fucks you up because it's adding more movement than necessary. But this is why we're training it, right? This is something that doesn't get trained in Kovakks. And if they get really close, you want to spam faster, right? Really close targets, you can train how fast you can spam. That's another thing you can work on while you're in here, is just how fast you can click. And then the further away they get, like if you're for some reason further away, you want to shoot less. It's just how you use the Tech 9, you know? Work on your smoothness, your reactivity, and your target switching on here, all while spam clicking the mouse. Next scenario is the refrag op hold scenario. This is a custom playlist. You just post on an angle, and it trains your reflexive aim with just the op. The bots on this, they like insta shoot you, so you have to insta flick them. There's no micro adjusting or confirming. You don't have time to do that with an op, and you shouldn't be doing that with an op because your area of where you can hit a target and kill it is much bigger than you have with an AK or a pistol. You're aiming for the body, so you should be like insta flicking with the op. All right, so back to aim bots. We do what I said that we do on day 2. It's just the track and insta flick. You're tracking the guy, and the goal is to focus on tracking and then insta flick, right? Uneven ground. For the next scenario, we go back to refrag. This is crossfire reflexive nightmare scout headshot. So you want to put it on crossfire, switch it to nightmare mode, put it at swingers 1, delay 1.1, and then get yourself a scout. And then the whole goal is scout headshots. You can confirm on this because you probably should be confirming your targets if you're scouting because you don't have the one-shot opportunity like you do with an op. So if you want to train your scouting, it's slightly different than opping because you're not insta flicking, you're confirming. Back to aimbots we go. Open up the square, put it at 1 sector, have the bots move slow, dynamic, and then this is self short strafe aimbots dynamic on ledge slow. So you're on ledge, bots move dynamic, they move slow, and you're doing self short strafes. So it's just going to be basic killing, flicking, confirming, right? I'm not confirming right now. I'm just trying to get some footage. After you're done with that, have the bot stop moving, keep it on flat ground, and now we're gonna do some track and insta flick on flat ground. That shit right there. And then afterwards, we're doing some Tarek M4 spam tapping on ledge heavy bots. The names of this get pretty ridiculous. So you go heavy bots, get yourself an M4, and you're just up here, and you're just gonna spam crouch tap. The reason why you're doing this with an M4 now, not a Tech 9 or a pistol, is that the tapping reset timer is different for rifles and pistols. So if you're spamming with a rifle, it's a little bit longer than if you're spamming with a Tech 9 of how fast the bullet resets. The errors that you're looking for, again, is just common aim errors. If you're having bad flicks, bad micro adjusts, you know, you're not being able to stay on target. But another error you want to look for is double tapping on accident. Like if you're doing this and you accidentally do one of those, that's an error. You should be spamming. See, that's an error right there. I accidentally shot more than once. You want to be spamming as fast as possible without shooting more than 1 bullet. See, I keep on fucking up right there. So that's what you want to focus on, because doing that in a long range fight, like if you're on overpass and you're fighting someone long, and you're in a spam tap battle and you fuck up like that, that can cost you a kill, which can cost you a round, which can cost you a game. You really want to train your spam taps, which don't get trained within Kovakks, especially specific spam tappings for certain guns. So we're doing the M4 with this one. After you're done doing that, have the bots go back to standing still, get yourself an AK, open up the ledge, and now we're doing track and insta flick on ledge. So you're doing the same thing, tracking and then insta flicking while you're on the ledge, like that. For the final scenario for the day 3 is self short strafe, aim bots dynamic on ledge fast. Bots are dynamic, they move fast, and you're on the ledge, and then you want to do your basic flicks, tracking, confirming, killing, that good stuff. Okay, and then you're done with day 3. Day 4, right? I'm not going to go through day 4 because it is literally the exact same as day 1. So for day 1, the priority is AK M4. You're doing it for a longer time. Day 2, priority is FAMAS and Galil. You're doing it for 20 minutes. Day 5 is technique and crosshair placement. So this is probably gonna be the most interesting one in terms of technique, because I want to explain this. So this goes through the techniques that are specific to guns. That was the goal. That was the goal in mind with designing day 5, is to focus on how to kill with each gun, pretty much, and what technique to use. So starting off with day 5, we have self long strafes, dynamic bots fast. So you're doing self long strafes, bots move fast. We've already explained this. Second scenario, you're doing self short strafe, static hard bots commit, refrag. You're literally doing what you do on Recoil day. You just have the bots high health. You commit to killing them. Yeah, you're just doing it for 200 bots. It's just to like help you warm up. Stay in refrag, and you want to get an X-fire map. So an X-fire map is pretty much a crossfire map combined with a pre-fire map. So there will be bots that are standing and already like in common angles, and you're pre-firing as you're going through a course. And then there's also going to be bots that swing you while you do that. While you're doing the X-fire map, the goal is to use the correct technique for each fight. So say that like you're in some crazy long range fight and you start spraying at some like really tight angle, just be like, okay, that's an air. I should be tapping at a super tight angle like that or something. You're just going through this. Look for errors in your crosshair placement. Look for errors in your techniques that are being used when you're peeking and fighting. And you just want to go through the map like that, right? Holy. After that, we're back to aimbots. Set the bots to dynamic, set them on slow, give them heavy armor, health regen, get yourself an M4, and you're going to throw on door frames and crates. And now you're just going to be spam tapping with the M4 while standing up. Because this is spamming while strafing is different than spamming while Taric spamming. So all you're doing here is committing and spamming targets with an M4 around corners. Like that. Once you're done with that, you go back to refrag, you do another X-fire map. Preferably you do a different X-fire map just to train more angles. And then you're just going to do it with an M4. You just go through the map with an M4. Same shit as before. And then we go back again to aimbots. We do the same thing. Health regen, head armor. Get yourself an M4. You're doing the same M4 spam, but except you're doing it with the Taric crouch spamming. Like this. And you're just going to do it on flat ground. You want to spam as fast as possible without double tapping. Preferably hit your insta flicks on the next target. Back to refrag. Once you go back to refrag, you're going to set it onto crossfire mode. Put it on practice. Get yourself a deagle. And you're going to put it on nightmare. And you're going to have the swinger set to 1. It's going to be deagle only reflexive crossfire nightmare. So when you're using a deagle, you want to confirm your targets, right? Because you get punished if you miss that first shot. People be like, oh, I'm a speed aimer or whatever. And they try and insta-flick with every gun possible. You should not be doing with every gun. Certain guns you do not want to be insta-flicking. Certain guns you want to target confirm, like the deagle. The goal with the deagle is because you get punished so heavily for missing that first shot, you want to take your time to line up that first shot and really confirm it. Also, if you have body armor and you're going against a rifle and they start spraying you, you can get a shot off before you get hit 4 times, right? You let them hit you 3 times. And if you take that time to adjust on their head, you will get the kill because they're not hitting you in the head, they're hitting you in the body. And all you need is 1 shot. Again, there will be exceptions to this rule. This is not a hard and fast rule. Generally, you want to confirm your targets with your deagle. But if you're on a deagle with no armor, you have aim punch. In those cases, you do not want to confirm. You just want to insta-flick with it. Also, if you're playing around cover, right, you're doing like some pop shots, you're not trying to be super accurate, you're better off playing the cover. So you're better off just, you know, quick peeking and then insta flicking. So that's another scenario where you would want to insta flick. But yeah, you're just going to do reflexive deagle, crossfire, nightmare for 125 bots. You go back to aim bots, set it to 1 sector, add the walls, add the crates, heavy armor. You're just going to get yourself a pistol. So you're pretty much doing the same thing as before with the rifle, except you're doing it with the pistols now, and now the bots are moving fast. So you're just going to be in here spam tapping with a pistol. And you want to do, again, the correct speed for the distance of the bot. So the farther away the bot is, the slower you want to tap. If he's close, go crazy, start spam tapping. And you just want to train your spam taps like that. Try and stay on target. You're doing half Glock, half USP for 300 kills, I believe. All right, so now for the final scenario, you are going to be doing another X-Fire map, and you're going to be doing AK only, but you're going to be only doing the MBM method. If you aren't aware of what the MBM method is, it is a technique that you use for guns in game. Essentially what the MBM method is, it adjusts the normal technique of aiming. So the normal technique of aiming is to flick, micro adjust, confirm, and shoot. The MBM method, you take a gamble on the insta flick. So you're gonna flick, shoot, micro adjust, and then shoot again. So you're pretty much doing the same thing as before, right? You flick, micro adjust, confirm, and shoot. Except with the MBM, you're shooting on the insta flick, and then you're going back, micro adjusting, and then confirming the kill. There's different ways you can MBM within game. You can MBM into a tap, right? So you're like, you can MBM into another tap and just like double tap the guy. You can MBM into a spray, right? So you're like, boom, and you spray it on the wall. That's pretty much what the MBM method is you're taking a gamble on the AK. You don't want to do this with all guns though, because some guns you get punished on the recoil reset timer. The AK though, the timer of the recoil literally resets by the time you micro adjust. So hopefully that all makes sense of like how the form works with the MBM method. The guns that you should MBM on are pistols, USP, Glock, Tech 9. Those should pretty much be like MBM into spams. AK you can MBM method with. I don't really know how I feel about MBMing with Galeos, FAMASs, and M4s because they don't have the one-shot potential. I think it really matters about the one-shot potential. If you don't have that one-shot potential, I think you might be better off taking the extra time to confirm, or just to insta flick into a spray and let your spray be the micro adjust. That also works really well. But AK, you pretty much can always MBM method. And if you master this, it looks so flashy as well in games. What the fuck? Hopefully that makes sense, the way I'm just demonstrating it. It's like the flick and then into adjust. Watch Maddie Overwatch's video on the MBM method. If you don't know who Maddie Overwatch is, he's literally like the best aimer in the world. He's got a whole video on the MBM method. He recommends not trying the MBM method until I think you hit Master Complete on Kovakks or around that rank. I could be wrong. But yeah, if you are like brand new to aiming in Counter-Strike, this might not be the best technique to work with. One thing I realized that if you're doing the MBM method, because there's like a lack of confirming within it, is that anytime you MBM method, you don't train your normal aim. But anytime you train your normal aim, you're pretty much training the MBM method, because normal aim also trains your insta flicks, which the MBM method relies heavily on. Training your normal aim will always improve your MBM method. Training your MBM method won't always improve your normal aim. And if you only MBM method on everything, you'll suck so much with deagles, and you'll suck at any situations that you are forced to target confirm on and not insta flick. But that's the MBM method, and that's what you want to do for the last scenario. It's 300 bots, X-Fire with the MBM method. So for day 6, I'll literally show you what it looks like. It's a whole lot of the same shit. It's a lot of flicking and it's movement. Self short strafe aimbot static, 500 bots, 360 degrees, 270 degrees. Circle aimbots, we already talked about that. And then it goes back to 360 degrees, self short strafe aimbot static on even ground, 270 degrees on even ground. It's a lot of the same things. I'll show you what I mean exactly, but this is going to be over really quick. First off, you're doing self short strafe, so you're just doing your normal short strafes of flicks. Goal is flicking and movement. What you want to look for is how good your flicks are to these far targets. You're doing 360 degrees to start off with. You want to train your static aim with strafing, because this doesn't really get trained in Kovakks, is static with strafing. You're confirming as well. You're just putting it all together into one big static scenario. You're focusing on all that shit, all that good shit. 360 degrees, cut it down. Now you're doing 270 degrees. And then because this is also a movement thing, You want to differentiate how a flick feels while strafing, because it's different. You know, flicking right here while strafing is different than flicking right here while standing still. It's a different amount of movement. If you flick in this direction and you turn in this direction, the flick shortens it shortens the distance your hand has to physically move. While you're doing this, you want to be moving a majority of the time, but eventually sometimes you just want to stop and not move at all, just to show your brain the difference between strafing and flicking and just static and flicking. And you want to just do it randomly and then throw in some crouches randomly, and you just want to train all your movement, the whole range of motion for your movement. You know, strafing, flicking, static flicking, crouch and flicking. You do what? 500 bots 360 degrees, 500 bots 270 degrees, and then you want to go back to refrag. You're doing the circle strafe, aimbot static. Come back to here, you're going back to another 360 degrees. Open this baby up, but now you're doing it on uneven ground. So now you're training your flicking, not just horizontally, but also up and down. You want to make sure you're like landing on the bot. Well, no, that's another like key tip when you're doing static scenarios, is that an error that you want to look for is not just missing the target, but another error is how good your flick was on the target. So if you're doing static and a lot of your kills like look like this, like you're always having to micro adjust, that's an error. Your initial flick should be landing on the bot. Look for that in your errors. How far off the bot you're hitting. Just register if you're over flicking a lot, try and fix it. If you're under flicking a lot, if you're not confirming, you're not micro adjusting, look for that shit. And because it's also a movement day, not just a flicking day, and also all that flicking can hurt your wrist, I throw in a refrag movement map just for like 5 minutes. So you just want to open up refrag, go to their community hub, go to movement. You can do one of these. You're just gonna come in here and just gonna do like the movement training, right? Just training your B hops, shit like that. All right, training your jumps, movement in game. Oh fuck, a lot of these jumps can get easy pretty quickly. Like there's some like mirage jumps, like window to mid or something. I threw this in here just to, you know, give your wrist a rest from all the flicking, also just to work on your movement, your air straights and stuff, your KZ. I want to do it in a server so it's vanilla movement and you're not doing KZ movement, because that's gonna mess you up in game. I don't know if you know about KZ, but the movement is different in KZ mod than it is in vanilla. And if these jumps get too easy for you, start doing them in weirder and weirder ways. It seems like a waste of time, but like trying to hit the shit sideways or some shit, like practicing that will get you frustrated, right? This will get you frustrated, which will spark your neuroplasticity, like frustration and adrenaline. Sparks neuroplasticity, so it makes you learn better from the session. Plus, it's just cool to have weird things mastered. Like if you can show off how you know how to hit that jump sideways, like that's crazy. Like that's cool as fuck. Just spend like 5-10 minutes just going through these jumps and then go back into aimbots and continue with the flicking, because that's literally all you do for this day is a lot of flicking. That's the full routine right here. I just went through everything. If I sound tired, it's because this took 90 minutes to record, just going through my aim routine. Again, I recommend doing this alongside with Kovakks. That's what I currently do. It's also why I've been uploading way less on YouTube, because I've been aim training like 3-4 hours a day. That's all I've been doing lately. So, but I've realized that I kind of need to stop because I'm getting wrist pain. I've actually been damaging my wrist because I've been aim training too much. With that extra time from less aim training, I'll probably be posting more videos. Do this routine. Let me know how it works for you. This thing has made me skyrocket my aim within game, and I've been playing better than ever before. Hopefully this helps. Let me know what you guys think about this routine. And yeah, you guys have a good rest of your day. Hope to see you soon with some more videos. Peace out, y'all.